Hi guys, it's Angela here, and today I'm going to do a Zoom video recording so I can share with you my screen. For many years, the governing body of the Jehovah's Witness organisation of the Watchtower is culpable for so many crimes because of the policies and procedures that they have in place and which they refuse to change. They have blood on their hands of so many people and in so many ways. So because George Pell, who is a cardinal, a very senior member in the Catholic Church, has been found guilty and jailed for 6 years for child sexual abuse. This should give us hope. This should give us hope that things are changing in the world and senior members of religious organisations such as the Jehovah's Witness, the Watchtower, that does so much damage to people's lives, can be held accountable. We've seen so many child abuse victims in the Jehovah's Witness organisation suffering. Some of them have come forward, but many of them have had their lives destroyed and their families' lives have also been destroyed. People have committed suicide because of Jehovah's Witnesses policies. Many people have had their lives stolen from them. They've suffered with ill health and mental health challenges because they can't deal with the injustices that they've suffered. Many people have lost their loved ones because of the policies of Jehovah's Witnesses around the blood issue, and many more still have lost loved ones because of Jehovah's Witnesses policy around shunning. So many people have suffered at the hands of the Watchtower organisation because of the policies and procedures and the practices that the governing body stand by and issue to their elders and their members. So there is hope, there is lots of hope. So in this particular scenario, in this particular article, and there's a picture of Cardinal George Pell. He has been jailed for 6 years after being convicted of sexually abusing 2 boys in Australia. Now, 6 years may not sound like a particularly long time, but it's a start. It's a start. You know, we've not seen many people being jailed for their crimes, but the fact that this cardinal, senior member in the church, has been held accountable and is being jailed is a start, and I'm hoping that in time we will see more and more officials being jailed, including those of the Jehovah's Witness. The article says the former Vatican treasurer is the most senior Catholic figure ever to be found guilty of sexual offences against children. Pell abused the 13-year-old choir boy. Pell abused the 13-year-old choir boys in a Melbourne cathedral in 1996, a jury ruled last year. And the cardinal, who is now 77, maintains his innocence and has lodged an appeal. But in sentencing Pell on Wednesday, a judge said the cleric had committed a brazen and forcible sexual act on the 2 victims. He said, "Your conduct was permeated by staggering arrogance." Now, his conviction, it says, has rocked the Catholic Church, where he had been one of the Pope's closest advisors. So yes, And we see with Jehovah's Witnesses that their crimes against young children is brazen, but what's even more brazen is the fact that the policies that the governing body puts in place actually protects the abuser and provides no protection or support for the victim. So again, incredibly brazen and disturbing policies that the Jehovah's Witnesses have. In this section, what did the court hear previously? It said that the prosecutor said that Powell had abused the boys following a mass in St. Patrick's Cathedral in 1996 when he was Archbishop of Melbourne. After telling them they were in trouble for drinking communion wine, Powell forced each boy into indecent acts, and then he abused them again in 1997. Now, again, it's the manipulation that these so-called God of men hold, in that they use circumstances around the church to manipulate. So in this situation, the cardinal said that the boys were in trouble for drinking communion wine, and as a result abused the boys in this situation. So there is hope in that this situation happened in 1996 and 1997, and even though it's historical, it doesn't matter. A crime is a crime regardless of when it took place. And even though it happened over 20 years ago, the court system is still finding grounds to prosecute and secure a conviction. So in this next section, what did the judge say? He said that the crimes were particularly callous because of the stark power imbalance. Now, again, with Jehovah's Witnesses, we often see such a strong imbalance of the victim and the abuser, but also the way that the abuser is supported in the congregation, and particularly when it comes to attending a judicial meeting. So for those who are not Jehovah's Witnesses, when an allegation of child sexual abuse is brought to the elders' attention, then the elders convene a meeting, usually 3 men. There's no women present or involved. So there are 3 men that convene, and at that meeting is the child who has been sexually abused, and often the abuser. And the child has to share details of the intimate, share descriptions of the intimate, degrading and traumatic details of the crime that took place, and they have to discuss this and share this in detail with these 3 men. So usually there's a situation where the child is not supported by any professionals. They cannot go and seek professional help or bring a professional or anybody else into that meeting to support them, and there is that imbalance of power with 3 men to start off with, and then often with the accuser and this child on their own. So again, we see this stark imbalance of power here. So what has been the reaction? It says, Powell's surviving victim, who cannot be named, welcomed the sentence, but said it was difficult to feel the gravity of this moment. Another said, there is no rest for me. Everything is overshadowed by the forthcoming appeal. So, we wait to see what happens in terms of the outcome of the appeal. But overall, it's good news. I'm seeing this as good news in that senior officials within churches who many thought for many, many years were untouchable is now being held to account for their crimes against young people. And we're going to see, I'm pretty sure we're going to see more and more cases emerge. And well, we've seen more cases emerge recently over child sexual abuse within the Jehovah's Witness organisation and massive payouts being made. But what this case does, it turns it on its head to get those individuals, those perpetrators, sent to jail. And that is a big change in the tide. And as I say, we live to see the day when Jehovah's Witnesses governing body members are also sent to jail for the blood that they have on their hands. Now, another case that I want to share with you is one that happened here in the UK. And the headline for this is Jehovah's Witness elder abused young girl whilst taking her round to preach the Bible. Now, this is a case that happened in Wales in the United Kingdom. And there is a picture of Thomas Brian Jenkins, the child sexual abuser. And the article says a member of a Jehovah's Witness congregation has been jailed for subjecting a girl to years of sexual abuse. Thomas Brian Jenkins, 74, denied repeatedly indecently assaulting the girl in 1970s, but was found guilty by a jury at Merthyr Tydfil Crown Court after an hour's deliberation. So again, what we're seeing is that historical crimes, people are now paying the price for. And I think this is really important because sometimes when abuse happens, people are not in a position emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually, they're just not able to speak about the abuse, and it could be many years before the abuse comes to light and they're able to speak of it. So the fact that we're now in 2018, or this case was finalised in 2018, went to court, and he was sentenced in 2018, but the crime was committed in the 1970s, just shows that it doesn't matter how long ago the crime was, the court system, the legal system will still deal with it. So in this scenario, the court heard that the abuse began when the girl was only 12 years old, and it continued for 2 years until she was 14. And when she went to report the behaviour to the elders in the congregation, one of the elders, who is a former policeman, actually laughed in her face. Now, this is really disturbing, and it's really sad and disgusting that it happened. However, it's not unusual. I'm not surprised by it, because the way that the Jehovah's Witnesses structure is set up, it's set up to protect the perpetrator. It offers no protection or support to victims. So this young girl mustered up the courage to go and report this crime, as Jehovah's Witnesses are instructed to do, and are instructed to report any crime, any wrongdoings to the elders. They are forbidden to go to the authorities and report crimes, or to seek help from professionals such as therapists. So they're encouraged to go to the elders, and when she does, the elder laughs in her face. So it's disturbing, But unfortunately, it doesn't surprise me, because that is the nature of the Jehovah's Witness religion. So it gives details of how the abuse took place, which I'm not going to go into, but it does make the point that she was wearing a skirt at the time that the abuse took place on this one occasion. And it's interesting because Jehovah's Witnesses do not encourage their women members. In fact, they are forbidden to wear trousers. So you cannot wear trousers out in the ministry when you're going door to door or to the Kingdom Hall for services. That is strictly forbidden. And wearing trousers in this situation, the article alludes to and implies that she could have had some protection from this paedophile, from this child abuser, from this disgusting man and his vile acts. She could have had a little bit of protection if she was wearing trousers, but of course the organisation totally bans trousers for women to wear. So he was able to carry out his crimes in that respect. And she lives with the consequences of his actions every single day, which is so sad, because, as I say, Jehovah's Witnesses are not encouraged to seek any support from professionals. And I just hope that this young girl, who's a woman now, was able to get some support, professional help and support, to help her deal with the horrific crime that happened to her. She also makes some interesting points, that no one listened to her, much less believed or supported her. And this is something that we hear time and time again from victims of child sexual abuse, and in particular within the Jehovah's Witness religion, is they feel that, and they acknowledge that nobody would listen to them, nobody would take them seriously or believe them or act in a supportive way to them. So, you know, it's just so sad and shocking that this is the case. It says, during her evidence, she criticised the religion's governing bodies for dealing with sexual abuse in-house. She said, "I'm angry at Jehovah's Witness elders and the governing body for the lack of protection they provide to children. There is no safeguarding. They do not report it to the authorities because they want to deal with it in-house." And yes, this is, having been a Jehovah's Witness for over 20 years, and still have family within the Jehovah's Witness religion, I know that this is exactly how they deal with them, with matters, and dealing with it in-house really does cause harm and suffering to individuals. And because they don't have the support or the therapy or the help, sometimes people, it has absolutely devastating effects on people and their lives. So I just wanted to share with you those two stories, one that happened in Wales, but also the contrast that there is hope that one day we may soon be seeing not just elders being jailed for their crimes, but also members of the governing body being held legally and fully accountable for how they instruct their elders and their management team to follow organisational policy when it comes to child sexual abuse. So hopefully we will see the turning of the tides. So guys, there you have it. I just wanted to share with you my thoughts and these two contrasting articles. So guys, thank you for joining me on this video. If it's the first time you're here, then thank you so much. Please hit that red subscribe button and the notification bell so you can stay tuned and receive notification of my future videos. And if you've previously subscribed, then thank you for coming back and watching. So guys, thumbs up to you all. I look forward to seeing you on a future video. Have a wonderful day now. Take care.